Hey guys, we have a $100 AFCO gift card and 4 LK lures rigged with beast hooks to give away. All you have to do is fill out a short survey and enter your email address in the box below. The link is located on Instagram and at the podcast description. Giveaway ends July 11th. My birthday, bro. And thanks again for all the support. We really appreciate it. Check out LK Lures on Instagram. They make amazing weedless baits. And check out AFCO. Big supporter, Matt Florentino. Really appreciate it, bro. Later. Welcome to Cast and Crank Podcast. Today we have a treat for me, at least. We get a really, really good surf fishing dude, all around fishing guy, Edgar Pogosain.
Hey guys.
From Band of Anglers, right?
Yep, Band of Anglers. Patrick Sabile's a Band of Anglers.
Yeah, stoked to get him on. Thanks for coming down here, dude.
Stoked to be here, Nick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll get into how I got into fishing with surf fishing, and I've talked about it a million times before. You hear me saying the same fucking thing all the time, guys. But this is what I started with, and my first true love of fishing was throwing hard baits, throwing crocodiles, in the surf, man. That's all I did for fucking 6-7 years straight. And with my buddy Roger Grunder, he's another good buddy of mine that fishes, really good surf fisherman. But let's talk about how you got into the whole thing of surf fishing. You're from up north a little more.
Yeah, I'm
right?
from the Los Angeles area.
So you fish a little north a little more?
I fish all over.
Fish all over?
I'm the type of dude that won't hesitate traveling 3.5 hours for a single fish, even sometimes.
I hear you.
I like putting in time. I know the only way to catch good fish is putting in time.
Yeah.
I grew up fishing the surf with my dad. My dad was the one that brought me into fishing, first of all. My first fish was a mackerel, just like pretty much all SoCal kids, fishing Manhattan Beach Pier and all the other piers we have. And we started getting more deeper into surf fishing, catching spot fin on sand crabs and bigger corbina. And, as a kid, you always want to venture off and find something new, something weird. And one day I took a big hammer out and started playing around with it, got into some halibut, and got me excited, And
how old were you at this time?
About 8-9 years old.
Wow, that's crazy. That's young.
And
how old are you right now? I'm sorry.
I'm 28 years old right now.
Okay, so you've been doing it hard for a minute.
Yeah, I've been fishing the surf really hard for the past 8-9 years.
Okay.
That's what I would really consider my big learning curve, where I kind of developed as an angler, learned all the little nooks and crannies. And so I mean, once I found that halibut thing, on the swim bait, I was like, ooh, carbina? Spot fin, Dad? Nah, they don't do it for me no more. And then at the age of 10, I had a major change in my life. My dad moved my whole family back home in Armenia. So it was like a woof.
You moved. So what age was that? 10?
10, yeah.
You moved back to Armenia?
Yeah, I moved back to Armenia.
How close was it? A lake or anything to you? Nothing.
The closest lake was 40 minutes away. The only predatory fish in the lake was asp.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Asp is a subspecies of striper. It's currently on the brink of extinction. It's a really cool predatory fish. They don't grow very big, 6-7 pounds. I think world record is about 9. Really, really cool fish. They feed topwater, subsurface, all kinds of crazy stuff in rivers, lakes. But what I found in Armenia that was kind of intriguing and was kind of similar to my surf fishing was fishing very tiny streams for brown trout with little spinners, little crappie jigs, little crocodiles, anything pretty much, small jerk baits, crank baits. And that's pretty much what kind of kept me occupied and kept my fishing passion going, in Armenia. And I always thought back, I wish I could be back in California, throwing my freaking Lucky Craft, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trout are cool. They're awesome fish, but they don't really appeal me as much as the big, strong, predatory, calico bass, halibut, white sea bass. And so I couldn't take it over there. I would stay there for 6 months, come here for 2 months, go back. Stay there for 6 months. So I was constantly back and forth, to kind of keep my fishing addiction going. And when I turned 18 and my dad actually told me that you have the opportunity to choose what to do in your life.
Right back, huh?
Straight back to my roots. And that's when my fishing addiction really started getting deep.
Was that on your own?
That was on my own.
So you came back here on your own?
On your own, without my family.
Wow, that's amazing, dude.
The only family that I had over here was my aunt and grandma, and they currently still are here. I lived with them for 6 years, and now I'm living on my own. I rented my own place, and I work really, really hard.
Yeah.
I don't fish as much as I used to. I used to fish 5 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. But now, adult life. I work 7 days a week. My hours are really, really strange and weird. They can change from time to time.
Wow.
So, I don't have the opportunity of hitting all the good tides. And so now when I fish very, very concentrated. And I try to pick the best times for me to fish pretty much.
Yeah. Wow, dude. What a crazy story. So you came back here and you're kind of like, can't wait to get back to the surf. 18, 19?
Yep, 18, 19.
So that was about 10 years ago.
Yep.
Did you take a little trip onto Fishing Network at that time?
Of course I did. Of course I did. My nickname on Fishing Network was Edgar Poe. Just like my Instagram network. I fished with Arthur, Wingnut. I was really close friends with Mike, Bones. I'm still close friends with all of them. Jerry G.
You got to put me to Wingnut, dude. You got to hook me up with them because that's one dude I want to go, man. You kind of started like something... That was like before Instagram was like a big thing, Fishing Network, dude. I mean, you would see dudes on there posting really big fucking fish, especially surf fishing, dude. No one. We had Eric Fishhead, Eric on here.
Yep.
But I remember Jay Kim and him painting in the beginning before anyone. He had the lures he's painting.
Yep.
So it's like amazing, but that's
those
cool.
guys were the guys that pretty much opened the door for me. At least I'm gonna be totally honest. I was totally shocked and astonished seeing them catching nice white sea bass, nice halibut, calico bass, and consistently. You know what? Not like one here, one there. Consistently.
Stripers, dude. SP Dan. That's who I met a couple times.
Dan's really cool. I've met Dan many times. The big striper he caught,
dude,
that was a really nice fish off the beach, for SoCal.
Definitely.
So they're the ones that opened the door for me. Mike taught me a lot. Mike and Jerry pretty much showed me everything I know in surf fishing.
Really,
they were the ones that always pushed me beyond. And we fish totally different territories. That's the thing. See, surf fishermen vary. There's guys that like fishing sandy areas. There's guys that don't like being in the water. There's guys that just absolutely don't give a crap and will be in the shittiest territory, just waves crashing over your head. And
like Paul, Aqua Assassin.
That's my type of fishing too. I love that rugged, rocky, nasty. I cast where nobody casts because that's where the big fish are gonna be, pretty much. And that's what developed my passion. And when I used to see Lucky Craft 110, I was like, okay. It's cool, Lucky Craft 110. But is that going to be appealing enough to the fish that I'm looking for? That's
another good question I have is that LC 110 for surf fishing is like a 90% to 85% go-to.
It's a staple.
It made... I mean, before that was crocodiles, I think, right?
Yep.
I'm...
Little
from what
Rapalas.
I know. From what I know. Rapala... Oh, shit. And then... Sorry, guys. And then, but when did you start, like, it's like a go-to confidence bait, like, because I know I could work that thing and catch a fish. When did you start going, okay, enough Lucky Craft. I need to move to a couple different lures. What were some of those lures? Maybe not what you're using now, but after you moved. Did you use SP minnows? Did you use,
I used SP minnows, but SP minnows. So about like 5-6 years ago, to answer your question fully, I was like, okay, the 110 is cool. It's a good bait. I love the 110 for halibut. It's one of my favorite jerk baits for halibut fishing. I've caught many personal bests on the 110, and it was just like, okay, 110. 110 catches 110 sized fish. Let's see what we can do with a 170 or a 190 or a 220. And that's when I started looking over what I could find from other brands and stuff. And SP Minnow was like, okay, cool. Couple tries here and there. Bent hook bait, bent split ring, destroyed lure. Totally the hook bait torn out of the lure from the torque of a calico digging down. And I was like, this don't cut it for me. I'm done.
Yeah.
I started looking in the JDM market and I found some. I don't even want to talk about them. They're just too good. I mean, when you see them in some of the pictures I post, if you're familiar with them, you'll know what they are. But I don't want to spill the beans because I was told from guys that didn't want to spill the beans. No, I back it
100%, dude.
And they cast at least 70% better than a Lucky Craft or an SP Minnow. They swim fantastic just on any type of line. You know how Lucky Craft, the 110, swims on like 12 to 15, maybe 20 pounds?
Yeah.
Maximum 25,
Yeah.
No, not with the lure I'm talking about. I fish it on 60-pound fluorocarbon, and it swims.
That's the leader. Are you using a straight or a leader? Is that your leader?
I'm using leaders, maybe 8 to 10 feet of...
60-pound fluoro, huh?
If you see where I'm casting, you'll understand why I'm using 60-pound fluoro.
In the surf, I'm like, I use probably... to be truthful, I go 50 straight braid all the time. I was fishing sandy beaches a lot of the time, so it's kind of like I didn't work one. Even when I went to the places that I caught my big fish, I would still go straight braid because I feel like fluoro. If you got to change that leader like a couple times, to me, when you're fishing.
Oh yeah,
because it's like it'll be fucked.
Oh, a couple scratches and frays.
Yeah. So I was like, I just want to fucking catch a fish, so I just keep casting. But interesting using that heavy. I mean, but you're catching some big fish. What's your PB off a calico?
My PB calico was caught shark fishing. I was fishing a big mackerel head nighttime for 7-gill sharks, and I got a big grab and set the hook. I thought it was a grouper or like a black sea bass or something, and I took it to the beach, and I was yelling right away, black sea bass, black sea bass, black sea bass, and I grab it from the lip, and I lift it, and I see the checker marks on it, and I just totally went pale. Fuck. I was with my buddy, and we were standing together, and she's like, dude... I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
So I didn't even have a tape on me. I cut a piece of monofilament, exactly the length of the fish, 150-pound mono. That's what I had on me. Yeah. So I cut the length of the fish, and I measured it at home, and that fish was 27 inches.
That's like at least an 8 or 9 pound fish, right? I'm not sure. From what I've heard, no, bigger than that. What is it? Way
bigger. I measure.
Give us the comparison.
My biggest on lure from the beach was 24.5 inches. And that fish weighed just a little bit over 9.1.
Okay.
That fish was 27 inches. And
that's got to be like 11 or 12.
I have no idea. I don't like guessing. If I don't weigh my fish, I will not tell you a weight.
Quoting Ben Seacrest.
I know that fish was big, size large. One that you don't catch too often. The guys that have caught really big calicos and measured them, they know. I've caught many calicos from like 24 to 26 inches, and I kind of have an idea of what a big calico looks like and feels like, but that fish was just abnormal. It wasn't just an ordinary double-digit fish. That fish was, in my opinion, if I had to guess, that fish was 13, somewhere around there, 12, 13.
You don't carry a scale with you?
At that time, no. At that time,
because you weren't aiming for that, right?
Yeah, I wasn't aiming for that. I was fishing 7-gill, and damn, I'm not gonna weigh a 100-inch 7-gill. It's just when I get those things to the beach, all I want to do is take the hook out fast and see them swim off. Just snap one picture,
Yeah. Sorry for jumping around, guys. This is like my fucking shit. The questions I got for dudes that are really good surf fishermen, so I'm fucking all over the place. But we'll get back to lure choice. So you're using 60-pound leader. Yeah. You found a couple different lures that you really liked. So let's start from there. So you kind of skip the LC. You're kind of working with new lures that are like heavier, bigger. Do you using a different rod and reel?
Depends on what lure.
Okay.
I have a couple rods for matching my scenario I'm fishing. Like my regular surf rod works phenomenal with lures up to 1.25, 1.5 ounce. I feel very, very nice casting and working my lure with that. But when I go to the bigger jerk baits, I fish one model heavier. I fish a extra heavy, which is rated 15 to 40 pound. It's actually a trolling rod, but it's a salmon trolling rod.
Is this spinning? All spinning?
Casting.
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 Okay.
Very, very parabolic rod, but has a ton of backbone. You can land very big fish on it.
Do you mind saying what rod you're using?
Cousin's Tackle, it's discontinued. It's a tributary series. It's the model. I don't remember the model number, actually.
And what about reel?
Okay, that's funny. I used to fish Daiwa, like the Daiwas for a long time, all kinds of, and for the past 4 years, I was fishing Lexus, like religiously, because they're easy to service for me, tear down. They're not the best reel in the world, but they hold up and, they're okay. Mm-hmm. But I got tired. I was going through my collection of reels and I had 12 300 size Lexus. And I was like,
do I need this?
You need to change something because that means that they're breaking on you if you have 12, So I was like, okay, my buddy, he really likes the Shimano and Tranks, and he was really hyping the Tranks up, and it's a good reel, try it, and I ended up buying a few, and I'm starting to like it.
This is great to hear because I've heard from people that in the surf, the Tranks doesn't hold up. Maybe the 200, I've heard a couple different stories. I want to get one, but man, they're heavy on the pocket.
Yeah, they're a little pricey.
So I mean, but I went out with Benny Florentino. I was lucky, and I used his, and they're awesome. And I'll give another thing, the Corrado DC.
Yeah.
Oh my! I cast all the fucking line off of it. I couldn't believe it. He gave me a jerk bait, and we're throwing in the kelp, and I'm like, "Fuck, dude! I cast all the fucking braid off this. I couldn't believe it."
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, I'm a back. I love. Look it right here. Trevor Weeks, dude, hooked it up. Mike Lane gave me So I'm gonna try to. Yeah, and I'm trying to catch a. Hopefully this winter will be like a striper or something. I haven't caught a swim bait striper, but yeah, it's interesting to hear people's point of views on gear. I love hearing that.
I love striper fishing too.
Yeah,
that's another thing I got infected with.
Oh, yeah, I've seen your posts lately.
Yeah,
awesome. But so you're changing up your gear a little right now, but you're using Cousins rods for now because you probably have them.
Yeah.
You're not a complainer like me where you sold them all and fucking. But so you got your tackle heavier, you're fishing hard as shit still after that with bigger lures.
Yep.
Did that kind of lead to where you're at right now?
Yeah. I mean, I found, when you fish bigger baits and fish scenarios that not too many people fish, putting your lure in crevices that no one will risk putting a $40 lure in, you start developing patterns for bigger fish. Surf fishing, when people think about surf fishing, they usually think Corbina perch, but there's another realm in that. There's the bigger game. There's the big white sea bass. I can't tell you how many big white sea bass I've hooked and lost in the past from the beach. When I say big, I mean jumbo, like 50-pound class. They're around. You just got to know what tide and what specific area to be there at. Tide for surf fishing, in my opinion, is not what dictates if the fish are going to bite or not. Mm-hmm. Tide dictates if their fish are going to be in a specific location or not. That's how I choose where I'm going to fish with the tide. I don't choose if I'm going to fish with the tide.
Does it make you feel like you have to cast farther depending on the tide or not really?
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all. Some beaches fish very, very good on very, very low tides. It really depends on the structure of the beach. If it has an inner bowl, if it has an inner trough, trench. The biggest halibut I caught in my life was like in inches of water. Like totally unexpected. 34 inches.
Fuck.
I mean, it's a decent one, I've lost many bigger ones.
Yeah.
But, I mean, big fish in the surf will be in very shallow water. People really think, oh, no, it's not deep enough here. It's 2 feet. I caught my personal best white sea bass in about 3 feet of water.
Fuck, dude.
Which was 38 inches.
That's
22
huge.
pounds. That's not a bad fish,
Did you keep that?
I was forced to keep that because
Oh, I couldn't revive it.
no way. That fish I was fishing single hooks on a hard bait. So 3 single hooks. One was in the mouth, one was in the artery, right under the gill, and the other one was like right under the fin. So I removed the one under the fin. He was okay. I removed the one in the artery, like blood flowing everywhere. So I put him in the water right away. I tried to revive him, but he didn't do too well. So I'd much rather take it home for my family than feed a seal, I really encourage catch and release because I've seen the benefits of it in my rivers and streams back home, even in the surf.
Do a lot of people back home, did they catch and release a lot of time or not really?
For brown trouts, it's starting to get popular because they're noticing that they're losing the gene of our endemic fish. Yeah, they taste amazing, but just for taste, you don't destroy a whole population of an animal. It's just not right.
Agreed, dude. I don't. I've kept one halibut from the surf. My first fucking legal. I worked so hard for that fucking legal, so I kept it, dude. And I think it was on Father's Day.
Damn,
and
that
it was like
a good day to keep it.
And it was
at.
like my wife usually is ready for me to come home like at 11 and be like, I caught a couple short ones. I come home at 7:00 in the morning, fucking banging on the door, wake the whole house up. I fucking got it. I'm screaming, and she's like, what? And I bring home a fucking keeper, and I was so stoked, dude. I fished for maybe 10 minutes and then went home.
My first keeper was horribly devastating. If I tell you the story, you're gonna laugh.
Well, we gotta hear it now, dude.
Okay, so my first keeper was 27 inches, okay?
Nice.
But I was fishing Lucky Craft, just doing my regular retrieve, slow retrieve, and I was done with my retrieve. I take my lure out of the water, and right when I take it out of the water, like at my rod tip, a 27-incher jumps and grabs it. Me being in shock, I set the hook, and that fish is like 5 feet out of the water already. I'm just looking at the fish like on the sand, and I'm looking at the water. I'm like, did this really just happen?
Yeah.
I go and grab it and measure it, 27 inches. I didn't get one head shake out of that fish.
What's shitty, right? For all the time you put in, it's so shitty.
Yeah, it was like
it's not what you thought.
Is this really the way I'm gonna catch my first halibut?
No, it's fun, and I was there for my buddy Rogers. He caught his. It popped off in the water. I fucking soccer kicked that bitch onto the beach so hard. I was like, we're not losing this. Like, and people know when you surf fish, you put in so much fucking time.
Oh,
dude.
yeah, man.
And it's like to get that legal for us was like, this is no Instagram. This is Fishing Network, but no one's giving info. So you're working your fucking ass off to get this fish. So it was like a trophy, like where you're like, fuck, I can't believe we did.
Oh, I know the feeling.
I know with surf fishing dudes kind of, I would say, from what I've met, from people I've met, it's kind of a little different.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe in the older days, too, when it wasn't as much Instagram where,
Yeah.
But it's a little different. But, yeah, dude, it's cool hearing from you kind of like how you came up and you've had all these PBs. So you're doing really good in surf fishing. How did you hook up with a band of anglers?
So about 4 years ago, on the Fishing Network, one guy does a post from Spain named Robert Martinez with some incredible pictures with like a very, very expensive DSLR, and everybody jumps on the post and discredits it right away. Everyone on Fishing Network, like, oh, those pictures are photoshopped. You didn't catch a 40-pound cubera from the beach. You didn't catch that tuna from your float tube. And I just jumped in and I was like, just give the dude some slack. He didn't say any weight of any fish. He didn't brag. He just did a post with like many cool pictures, like, hey guys, I'm from Spain. I just moved to California for school. I'm gonna go to UCLA.
I want to say I saw this fucking post.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
He's like, I just want to fish. I don't know where to fish. Is there anybody that can take me out fishing? And when I noticed everyone was giving the guy shit, I was like, Robert, I got you, dude. He's like, don't trip. We're gonna fish all year together. I'm gonna come pick you up and we're gonna go fishing. So he's like, okay. I go pick him up the first time, and super cool dude. So we bonded instantly, and it was like my brother pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what we turned into brothers, literally. Fishing every day almost, before school, after school. I put him on some calico bass from the beach, some halibut, and we really like developed a really good bond. And he finished school and moved back to Spain and calls me like one day. That's like 2 years after we met, and he's like, "Hey, how are you, bro?" I'm like, "Good." He's like, "Would you like to come to Florida?" Like, what do you mean, would you like to come to Florida? Yeah, I'd love to come to Florida, And he's like, yeah, let's go. You'll meet Patrick and we'll fish. And, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm coming,
Wow.
So he's like, don't worry about anywhere to stay. We got you. Everything's cool, we're going to cover everything. So I ended up just buying my plane ticket and flying to Florida. And next thing you know, I'm in Patrick Sabile's house in Fort Pierce.
Wild, huh?
On the water in front of Indian River. There's jacks boiling in front of me. It's like, Robert, thank you, bro.
Yeah,
I really want to say thank you to him right now too.
Is he part of the
Yeah, he's a part of the
Okay.
band of anglers.
All right.
But Robert was one of the first guys that ever started fishing Patrick Sabile's products, even during Sabile Lures back in the day. Like now, Pure Fishing owns Sabile Lures.
So Sabile, I remember Sabile Lures from watching shows like 8-9 years ago, and he would be on the fishing shows, making wild. He made some wild lures, dude.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You're showing me now.
Totally out of
Yeah,
ordinary shape.
exactly.
The performance is very, very high compared to any competitor's lures. They're really strange. They make you think. They make you move it differently. And the first time I got introduced to his lures, I fell in love because I love freestyle lures. I love something that I can do something out of the ordinary with, I don't like bait that I'm just gonna retrieve and it's gonna do the same kick the whole time and dunk. Okay, yeah, I know I can catch a fish like that, but can I catch a fish on a freestyle bait, like a stick bait? Just move it 4 times to the left, bring it 1 time to the right, and boom. That's what kind of develops your skills as an angler.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with this stuff, and I met Patrick, and Patrick's one of the coolest, most generous guys I've ever met in my life.
Nice.
He has a very, very deep passion for fishing. He's not just corporate, like make lures, make money. I don't think he even cares about that.
No, dude, yeah, it's fucking so cool, man.
So yeah, and then we fished. The first year for me fishing Florida was really hard. It's totally different fishing.
So you stayed there for a little bit.
I stayed about 14 days, 2 weeks, and we fished really, really hard for tarpon, redfish, and snook. And the only fish that I was able to cross off my list my first trip was the snook. I got like a couple big snooks on my last day. Before that, I only got like small, 5, 6, 7, 8 pound snooks, and totally different scenarios. There's nowhere in California.
Let's hear about the differences since you're a California guy. You get a lot of Florida. I've heard of Florida guys coming here and going, okay, it's a little different. But you're a California guy going with casting gear, not spinning. So why is the big separation? Why do people use the casting to get out farther?
Over there, why do they fish spinning gear?
Yes.
So fishing, I'm just going to say one area, Sebastian Inlet. If anybody knows Sebastian Inlet, they know that on a good moving tide, there's 4 to 9 knots of current going through that inlet. Mm-hmm. When you're fishing for fish up to 200 pounds, casting gear is a joke from land. It's a joke.
Yeah.
On the biggest bait caster you can imagine, you'll get spooled in 10 seconds by 100-pound glass tarpon.
Wow.
So spinning gear is much more convenient to fish too, because you gotta fish a much bigger rod. You're casting much bigger lures, and swimming them is much easier with the spinning reel as well. And it was a big change for me when I started fishing spinning reels over there. I was like, oh, wind knots, all kinds of problems.
Yeah.
But you get into the groove after a while. And so the first time I'm there, looking at 9 knots of brown water moving out into the open ocean, and the bait fish are the size of the fish I regularly catch in the surf. Shit. Okay? They're like 2-3 pound mullet. And then a 2-3 pound calico, when you catch it off the beach, you're happy. It's a decent fish. It's not an amazing fish, but it's a decent fish. But the bait's 2-3 pounds over there. So I was like, okay.
This is a different game.
This is a totally different game, Totally different game. Fishing 8-inch baits, giant baits and bouncing bottom, and very hard fighting fish too. Our fish do not compare to their fish, honestly. Redfish, just to give you an example, is like an oversized yellowfin croaker. Can you imagine a 50-pound yellowfin croaker?
Dude, they fight.
Oof.
Yeah.
They dig down. Oh my God. The whole fight is just womp, 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 just head shake.
Yeah.
Head shake. Head shake. So that opened a totally different door for me. I really grew as an angler over there. You know, I never fished poppers and pencils for big fish jumping for, you know, in California, we don't have that.
Yeah.
The closest you can get inland is like striper fishing, you know, with the pencil popper. So it was like a eye-opening experience for me. I'll never forget. I'll just tell this story. This is one of the craziest things that happened to me in my life in fishing. I was fishing the SLD popper. It's one of our new lures from Oceanborn. This lure right here.
Cool.
Long cast on a 7,500 size spinning reel.
Fucking huge.
I had about 600 yards of 65-pound braid, just to give you an idea. 550 yards. So I was done with my retrieve. I didn't get a bite. I was tired. I'm just reeling in fast. And about 10 feet in front of my feet, a tarpon. The head was half the size of my body. Just jumps and grabs my popper and almost pulls me off the rocks, off the jetty into the inlet. And I just barely hold on. And that thing is screaming line, okay?
Yeah.
I didn't even have a chance to fight that fish. I looked up and down like 3 times. My reel, my rod, my reel, my rod, and I was spooled.
Shit, dude.
9 knots of current. That's the reason why they fight so hard over there. You know,
Yeah.
a 10-pound fish fights like a 50-pound fish in that current.
Fuck.
So that's the most humbling experience I've ever had.
Change
in fishing.
your life in fishing. Huh?
Oh, yeah,
You're
it was like-
oh my God, what am I, you know, like,
It's like-
shit, dude.
Yeah, you can't describe a scenario like that in words. You got to really, when you're standing on slippery rock with your reel set at 15 pounds of drag and you get a bite from a 200-pound fish, it's really hard to keep footing. It's really, really hard.
I'm sure, man. That rod is probably bent in half too, right?
Rod bent in half, your back's bent in half. It's like, it's pretty damn crazy. Yeah.
Did you catch a tarpon when you were over there?
I did not land any. The closest I got was on about 80-pound class fish off the rocks in that current, and I brought it in really close, and it jumped a couple times and started digging down. And where I was fishing, there's a really sharp ledge, and it rubbed my mono on the ledge and snapped me off. Yeah.
Wow.
I hooked 22 on the dart spin. Very big fish. See, that was another thing that we were out of luck on. We didn't want those. We wanted the ones that were like 60 to 120 pounds.
And you're like, I'll take the 10s and the 15s.
Yeah, you know, it's
I'm
like,
from California, dude. I'll take that shit all fucking day.
you're fishing for 150s. No, that's not going to happen, you know? It was hard, yeah. So anyway, after Florida, after that experience, when I got the dart spin, just seeing the dynamics of the way of this lure, the way it swims, I instantly in my head, it was like halibut.
Have you caught a lot of halibut on the dart spin?
Oh, I had 2 days, consecutive days. I caught limits of legal halibut off the beach with the dart spin. That was the best 2 days of halibut fishing I've ever had in my life. It was incredible.
Until you told people about it.
Yeah. 16 halibut the first day, 5 legals. If I fished longer, I would have gotten more. They were still biting and jumping, and it was just pretty much wide open. On second day, it was a little slower. I got about 11 fish and another 5 legals.
Wow.
Dart spin is phenomenal for halibut. The flash and vibration, they love flash, they love vibration. And the good thing about the dart spin is you can swim it super
And that's
slow.
on a weedless head too, right? Like a weedless hook.
For halibut, from the surf, I fish it on a jig head.
Okay.
3/8 ounce, half ounce, sometimes 3/4 if I need.
Do you guys have a jig head you make for it, or just use any old? jig
We
head?
have some prototypes that are in the
Okay.
making, but no, they're not for sale yet.
Yeah.
You can just pair it with any jig heads, like I don't know, VMC boxer heads, or 4.0 hook, something with like a 4.0 hook, 5.0 maybe even.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. So you came back with all this, the dart spin, and kind of was like, I'm closed. This is it.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was when? How long ago?
About 4 months ago.
Really?
Yep.
So you've been doing this. You went on the trip when?
I went on the trip end of November.
Okay.
My last trip was
So
end
then
of
you're
November.
pretty new to the. So how long has the Band of Anglers been around?
A Band of Anglers has been around for about 2 years. It's been a
Okay.
concept, like a idea of Patrick's, kind of in the making, and it slowly grew and developed and bigger, and now we got a bunch of lures and we got a lot more coming. And
Is there different representatives from each kind of like area?
yeah.
So like you're from kind of California areas, coast.
Yeah.
Is there a dude from up north more? Or is there anyone, or just you kind of? How many dudes are there? I guess
in California, we're 2 guys right now. It's me and Alex. We have Jim Salmons as well.
Alex is
Alex Cradle from Realistic
okay,
Wraps.
great. Another great surf fisherman.
Yeah, my
great
buddy.
idea, dude. Yeah, I remember buying his wraps. I told you that earlier, like years ago, before any of this, man.
I used to. I still, if I fish my Lucky Crafts, the only ones I fish are the ones that are wrapped. And I've loved his wraps for a long. I've been fishing them for a long time now, like 5-6 years.
So both of you guys are doing the band of English.
Yep.
Thing. All right, cool, man.
So when I got back and I had to share with him. I was like, dude, you have to try this bait. And first day I took him out, he got a halibut on it, and he was like, okay, yeah, you're onto something, man. He's like, I see a market here for it. And
dude, right? So are you kind of like the rep? Are you rep it over here too, or no?
No, I'm just pro team, pro staff. I field test his products. We got small ones coming in right now. They're in the mail right now.
What size?
The prototype, 4.5 inch, 3.5 inch,
man.
and eventually we'll have a 2.5 inch for the spotties, which is gonna be too much. Just like I'm on, I'm off. I'm on, I'm off. It's like too much. We're testing these in San Diego Harbor, the dart spins, San Diego Bay. I'm sorry, for spotties and halibut, and it was just
killing it.
Oh my god, just too much, just too much.
Have you caught decent sized spotties from the surf?
I've never caught a spotty from the surf. I've
heard a couple people doing it, which is kind of cool, but I think it's by the inlets.
Yeah, close to the probably mouths. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a cool.
Have you ever gotten one?
No.
No, you haven't gotten one either.
No. How about salmon?
No, I've never gotten a salmon.
I've heard a couple people catching salmon too, but I mean, hearsay. I don't know.
Wingnut got a couple, in Santa Barbara, I think.
Oh wow, dude, he's had some wild catches. Dude.
Yep. Stripers, salmon. I lost a striper about 2 years ago in the surf.
How big do you think it was?
Pretty sizable one.
Really?
It took me across some rocks and snapped me off. I was already fighting it for about a couple minutes, and it was a decent fish. I'd say 15-pound class.
No
not
way.
Bad. Yeah.
Damn. Let's talk about your personal best from the surf. Give us a breakdown on, I guess, all your fish, dude.
Okay.
Keep your mic a little closer.
My personal best halibut is 34 inches. It was 17.5 pounds.
Wow.
Which is a decent halibut for the beach. I've lost quite a few bigger ones. Freaking halibut are really hard to keep on the hook, as you know, especially 100%. The big ones, you know. And especially with the stock junk treble hooks, and even a lot of junk treble hooks from very well-known manufacturers that I don't want to mention, like total junk, like Perch, bend them, So that's what gets you to venture out to other markets and find other hooks, but I don't want to talk about that because that's long
long-winded, huh?
Yeah. So my personal best calico is 24 inches on a lure, on artificial, from the beach. It was about 9 pounds, a little over 9, a hair over 9, 9.1, I'd say, somewhere around there.
Nice.
My personal best white sea bass from the beach is 38 inches. It was very close to 22 pounds, 21 3/4, somewhere around there. And that was after the fish was bled out. And those are the interesting, the more elusive.
Any good
bycatches,
catches, like a sheephead or like a?
My bycatches, I'm like cursed with leopard sharks, bro.
Really?
It's like my bycatch is always almost either a leopard shark or a corbina. Very rarely I get like a zebra perch as a bycatch. Yeah,
that's nice.
I love leopards. I don't know. Maybe that's why I get the bycatch as a leopard most of the time, because I have a really deep appreciation for sharks, and the leopard shark is the most beautiful shark for me on the planet. And
they feel so crazy too. Their skin's like sandpaper.
Yep. And the whole pattern and just the way they fight. When you hook them on 20-pound class line on like a Lucky Craft or something, it's just, it goes berserk, surface thrashing, peeling line. It's challenging. And sharks have sandy skin, so you gotta kind of know how to fight it so it doesn't tangle up in your line. Because if its tail hits your line while it's running, it's gonna fray you off with its sandpaper. It's like if it touches its mouth, So my biggest leopard shark I caught was about 71 inches.
That's nice. On a Lucky Craft?
On a Lucky Craft 110, and I could barely lift it with 2 hounds. I can't tell you the weight. Maybe 50 pounds, I'm guessing, somewhere around there. You know, I don't know if you guys like shark fishing, but there was a time that I was really addicted to shark fishing off the beach.
No, I did it for probably like I want to say about 2 years, a year. The only time I caught one was a leopard, and I want to say it was probably about 5 feet.
Still
Didn't
a nice one.
know what the fuck I was doing. So I'm camping with my family and friends. We're at Point Magoo, the fucking naval base.
Yeah.
So no one's on there. So it's like evening. I had my middle son with me. He's probably like 3 or 4, trying to catch perch, and I had my buddy sitting there looking at a fucking a sea line reel, like a 30.
Yeah.
And I bought a big beef stick, like a 10-foot beef stick, and I'm like, all right. So my buddy's like, hey, the reel's making noises. So I walk over there and it's going bzzz. It was a half of a perch head. Fucking, and then I set the hook. I bring that fucker up and I'm like, oh shit, that's big. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm like, I seen videos of dickheads fucking tailing them and getting bit. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna get fucked up. But it was crazy because once I caught that, there was like 25 people on the beach. It was crazy. But yeah, I like shark fishing. Like I want to do more of it. And I think it's fun to shark fish with kids because you could let them play while the bait's soaking.
Of course.
You know, and then, oh, we got hit. The kid sees a shark. That fucking changes his whole fucking, you know,
Yep.
mind on everything I'm fishing. It's like, oh, man.
That was like part of the reason we were doing it a lot, like a few years ago. You know, all our friends, we had like a lot of free time, so it was a good place to go and hang out on the beach. You know, take a little brewski or some liquor.
Exactly,
and,
dude. Hang out, have fun, and then catch a big ass fish.
Yeah, throw out a big bonita head or yellowtail head or mackerel head, whatever.
What was your personal best on shark fishing?
7-gill. My biggest seven gill shark was like, we didn't get a measurement on it, but again, I put a piece of my tail rope. At the perfect length, and I made a knot, and I measured it. It was about 105 inches.
Fuck, dude.
It was really, really, really hard to drag that fish out of the water and back in the water. That was, if I had to estimate, it was probably 200 pounds, 250 pounds.
Nice, dude.
Really big. I've caught some big soup fin too, but soup fin don't grow that big, you know.
It's like 4 feet or something.
No, they grow up to like 7 feet.
No way.
Yeah.
Serpents? I didn't know that.
The ones you're talking about, the 4-footers, they're the smooth hounds.
Oh, there you go, smooth hound.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
We also have another one that's called a spiny dogfish. It has like a little spike on the
Those are cool looking.
back fin. Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
They're cool. They're just small, you know, not game when you have like a Fathom 40 with 80-pound braid. And yeah, 7-gills are really, really fun. That's like a fishery that hasn't been discovered in California. Really, you don't see too many people fishing for 7-gill sharks and soupfin sharks off the beach. It's quite a special experience, you know. Those fish, they fight really damn hard. The head shakes that a 7-gill does.
I'm sure the
is
big
just-
runs, right? Yeah.
The runs aren't that significant.
Just yanking.
Yeah, it's the head shakes are incredible. It's a very elastic shark, so it can turn 180 degrees and bite its own tail.
Oh,
so when it's head shaking, the thumps are just unreal. It's like you can't even hold on to the rod.
What size rod were you using?
12-foot surf rod.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's rated I think 2 to 10 ounces or 3 to 10 ounces. I don't remember.
What rig were you using? Because I researched forever.
My favorite rig for shark fishing in our waters is a modified fish finder rig.
That's what I used, yeah.
I use about maybe 18 inches of 250-pound stainless steel cable to a very, very heavy shark leader. You need your shark leader at least the length of your fish that you're targeting. And it needs to be minimum people say 80 pound, you know, you can go with 80 pound. 80 pound is nothing for shark fishing. They have very abrasive skin. They will fray you off like nothing. I fish minimum 150 pound. Minimum.
So you're crimping your connections?
No, I still tie a San Diego jam knot.
Really?
Yeah, I crimp my steel. I crimp every component I do with my steel. But my mono, I tie knots. I like knots with my mono. I don't feel safe with a crimp on mono. Maybe because I don't have experience with it, you know. I've tied knots my whole life.
What's your knot when you're throwing a jerkbait?
SD jam. SD jam is the knot that I use for every type of fishing I do.
Wow. I'm a Palomar guy. That's all I use.
Oh, yeah?
I'm just quick with it. And I had to learn how to tie it at night when we'd go to fishing on the fucking lakes that were you can't fish on, or the little ponds. I had to fucking memorize it. I'm like. So here's another question. I'm sure you get a lot of this with surf fishing because it's a little more private than anything else. Same as offshore, but I think a little more than that because you're from land. How has Instagram played in this whole thing for you? I'm sure you get a lot of DMs going, "Where do you fish, bro?" I mean, you can't just give up anything, but let's hear your perspective on it.
Yeah, it's I like looking at it from a positive side. Instagram has benefited us in one thing. It's creating awareness. Nowadays, I don't see too many people keeping calico bass. I don't see too many people keeping spotties. So, in my opinion, Instagram has kind of helped regarding creating awareness for people to practice catch and release. But one thing that Instagram has ruined for especially land-based anglers, surf anglers, is we both know those spots are few. We don't on our coast, we don't have 2,000 spots that can produce very nice calicos and very nice. It's very limited. So when you have a mass of people that are trying to take away all the time and effort you have put in, let's say 5 years, 6 years of time to kind of figure out one area where your prized game fish is going to be at, it kind of makes you sad. It's, in my opinion, the main thing about surf fishing is creating that prehistoric feeling in a human being, giving you that spark in your head that you have to think where to cast. You don't have a sonar, you don't have a GPS, you don't know what's in front of you, but you develop a hunter's eye. You start noticing structure on the bottom, just looking on the surface. You're like, oh, wow, that's a deep hole.
Holes all day long, dude. That's what you're looking for.
That's a nice ledge. That's a nice boiler rock. That's nice grass, and you start putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, and that's when you start catching good fish from the land, And it's sad to see a guy that just picked up a rod from a tackle shop with a reel and heard about few lures, swim baits, couple lucky crafts, and he just picks his rod up and wants to follow the guy that has been fishing his whole life.
Do you get people following you around?
I've had it happen before. Thankfully, now I don't fish as much, so it's really hard to track me. But back in the day, it was a problem. It was a really big problem, especially when you would post on multiple social media networks, and right away it would just, boom, catch on like fire. This guy's on a good halibut bite. Where is he? Everybody wants to go find your own halibut bite. You know what I'm saying? It's not go find your own halibut bite as in being a dick, as in go find your own halibut bite. It's like,
no.
Put in the time, learn, pass that learning curve, and then you'll find your fish. You'll know where those fish are at. But don't try to come and take something from me that I've spent so much time on. You put a part of your life in it.
No, 100%.
It's not that easy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're fishing very rugged terrain, like super. You put your life on the line. It's very, very scary. Some of the spots that, if those people are asking me, where did you catch that calico at? And I take them there, they won't even make a cast. They'll just look at the water and be like, I'm out. I'm sorry,
Do you have any rookie mistakes, like Danny from Harbor Creepers?
Yeah.
Fell in the water. My buddy Roger almost drowned.
Oh,
surf fishing like he was on waders, fell in the water, couldn't get out, and the guy was trying to get him out of the water. This was before MLPA. This was down off the rocks Crescent Bay. Do you have anything like that you ever had happen to you?
My funniest story in the surf, which was it was life threatening, but it was funny to me, at least when I got out alive. It was I was fishing Manhattan Beach, and I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of dozed off. In my you go into thoughts in your mind sometimes, and you're just doing your routine mechanically. You're not even thinking about your retrieve or anything. And I lost track of where I was, and I put one step ahead of where I should have stepped. And I fell into a hole that was probably 10 feet deep.
Oh, fuck.
With my waders on. And I just went bloop, straight down to the bottom. And I was fishing with one of my buddies, luckily, Mike. And he saw me. He's like, the hell's that antenna sticking out of the water? He didn't even know it was me
That's
at
a
first.
big fucking hole, 10 feet.
It was huge. It was huge. I couldn't. My head wasn't even close to the surface.
Just watching halibut swim over your head.
I'm just looking up like I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was starting to panic, and when you start panicking, you lose your breath and you start choking, and that's when it gets scary.
Yeah.
But from my luck, a big rogue swell came right at the time where I was almost gonna give up, pretty much, and that big rogue swell smashed me onto the sand in front of me, and I dug in with my both hands, and I kind of held myself as it washed back, and I was like, I'm alive.
We could tell you fish hardcore shit. By the time the way you're talking.
Yeah, it's tough.
Big waves, big,
I like fishing rough conditions. I mean, I won't fish when it's stupid to fish, but when I see an opportunity, calico bass, they love swell. They love rough water.
Yeah.
In my experience, most of the bigger calico bass I've caught have been in very, very turbulent, nasty conditions, days when you go to the beach and you're like, today I'm gonna skunk. Just you say low key to your buddy, you're like, dude, I'm gonna skunk today, man. And then next thing you know, you're on a big one. It's like, oh wow, okay,
dude. I love that too. That's how some of the places I like to fish bite. Another question I have for you is grunion run. Do you like to fish it night of, day after?
Grunion Run is one of the best kept secrets in SoCal. Up until about 6-7 years ago, nobody would want to talk about the Grunion Run because you can really experience some magical days during the Grunion Runs. During, after, before, all times. I've had incredible experiences before the run. I've had really nice experiences right during the run and after the run. My favorite, if I had to choose, would be after the run.
Really?
Fish right after the run, yeah.
So the day after?
Yeah, I don't like fishing when there's a really big pile of bait in my area. And a lot of my friends, they're like, dude, this is the time, it's freaking flooded. No. When there's a lot of bait, there's going to be a lot of predators. A lot of predators usually means a lot of smaller predators, because the big ones, we both know, they don't want to compete with 1-pounders and short halibut.
Yeah.
They want their competition to be substantial at least, so they get a chance to eat as well. Similar size. So I like when that bait moves out, and
stragglers.
Those stragglers stay around, and that's when the big fish really start feeding. It's easy pickings, they're all our predators that we fish for from the surf, they're all ambush predators.
Yeah.
We don't have any crazy pelagic, fast-moving predators, so what you're doing is you're trying to find a place where you would sit, pretty much, and wait for somebody to pass by with a tray of In-N-Out in front of you. That's like the best example I could give, pretty much. You're just trying
to... Or an 18-pack of Bud Light.
Or it depends. Whatever tickles your pickle, Jack, you know what Daniels.
I'm saying? Yeah, that's another good question. Paul kind of gave me, and I'm like, yeah, it's a good question. I remember John Kim painting those grunion fucking lures, and then people killing it on the Lucky Crafts. But man, let's talk about your local tackle shop you like to go to.
I rarely go to tackle shops, just for the fact that I'm kind of I'd say like a bad decision maker regarding buying tackle. So what I do is I'll have my days usually it's when I receive my paycheck or like a bonus or something, and I just go on sites and I buy like
tackle warehouse
shit ton of stuff, and then it arrives and I'm like, dude, I just spent like $2,000 on tackle. I don't need this line, I don't need this reel, I don't need... That's how it is for me. So if you see my garage, you'll be like, dude, you're a madman. My whole garage is all lures and rods and reels everywhere, and I don't even use 30% of the stuff I have. So I don't go to tackle shops just for that reason.
You got a lot of shit.
Jig heads, I got like 200 of each size, and trays. And plus, I'm kind of blessed, I'm with a band of anglers, and Patrick really supports and helps me with every possible thing he can. He's jig heads, lures, everything you can imagine. He always sends me, and I really don't see a need for anything. I really don't.
Yeah, and we want to say thank you too for you guys are gonna get some stuff. You'll probably hear this already. They donated some really fucking awesome lures that probably no one has. So this is gonna be something that people are gonna want to fucking jump on for sure. And thanks for coming out, dude. This has been a real fun dork one for me. Sorry if I've talked too much, but
thanks for having me.
This is one where I'm like fucking dorking out because of surf fishing, and I love it. But where can they check you out at?
My Instagram is EdgarPo9. Facebook Edgar Poe. You can find me again. Those are my two main platforms for sharing my fishing pictures and all my fishing experiences and endeavors, pretty much.
What about sponsors? Let's pump those.
My sponsors, A Band of Anglers. You can find all our product on our site, www.abandofanglers.com. We have Facebook and an Instagram. It's A Band of Anglers. On Facebook, you can find us as Patrick Sabiles, A Band of Anglers. That's pretty much it. Whatever you see on our website is kind of just the tip of the iceberg. Just wait.
It's coming, guys.
The things we have to unleash to the market that are already ready is just gonna blow your minds away. Just next level stuff that it's like alien lures. I'm gonna be straight up.
But seriously, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Nick.
Yeah, check out Band of Anglers. They're gonna sponsor part of the 50th, so you guys will probably be able to grab some stuff. And everyone knows about the dart spin, so go get it.
Dart spin for the win.
Later, guys.